This is David Death Dolly, and I want to talk some trans issues here. Something's really been bugging the shit out of me. For those of you who don't know me, I'm just about to turn 58. I grew up in the punk rock and goth world, coming up, and I'm a trans fan. So that means I'll be getting possibly some surgeries, and others I don't see a need for. Again, because trans fan, my goals may be different than yours, and it shocks me how many times I run into other trans people who find my goals to be very different from theirs. Shocking. We're not all the same. Those who had no ambiguity in their identity at a young age knew exactly who they're supposed to be. Or with me, it was like, okay, who's going to drive, the boy or the girl? Well, as you can see, the girl's driving now. So, I want to talk about this loaded issue about voice training, because a lot of people have called me out on this, and I mean, for a time, I tried to sound like this. I really like this Persian actress that starred in The Expanse. She's got one of those smokers' voices, very deep, and cuando hablar en español, it sounds a little more natural for me. Of course, that's my native language. In English, though, as one person described me, sounding a little bit bombastic, and people have suggested, you really ought to take voice training. And I thought about it, and I said, wait a minute. Yes, it would be better if I had a more feminine voice. It would be significantly better in situations like going through drive-thrus or having to answer the phone and not get called sir. It's kind of insulting. The other day I actually had somebody do that to my face on purpose. Of all places, the LGBT Center. Well, when I complained about it, let's just say some people got really upset. But it is what it is. That's a place where I'm supposed to feel safe. I'm supposed to, be welcomed, and yet there you have it, horizontal hate. And again, some of it stemming from I have, as a femme, our aesthetic is, ultra girly, hyper femme if you wish, everything from Lolita to Chanel, super feminine stuff, that's part of what a femme is, and aside from, orientation and what have you, there's some other issues there. We're always as trans people, we're always being confronted about other people's comfort levels. Our whole lives have centered around other people, whether you realize it or not. They always say, you can't do this, you can't do that, because you're gonna upset these people and that people. Now that you're out and about and living visibly, I would hope you would not be worried about what other people think. I frankly don't give a shit. But, there are some situations where having the right voice to match the image would be a hell of a lot better. But then I got to thinking, whose comfort level? Are we doing it for us, or are we doing it for them? What have they done for us except hold us back, taunt us, harass us, and what? Why should I give a fuck? My voice sounds like this, ever since I start getting on HRT again, my voice started getting a little higher, it's like, some people say, you sound kind of like a gay male, or whatever. I don't care. I really don't. So I debate this thing because, we're always talking about other people's comfort levels, and we should be focused on us and not other people, seriously, if we all put that much investment in what other people thought of us, do you think any of us would have ever come out of the closet? Do you think any of us would have ever pursued HRT or in some cases SRS. Seriously, think about this. Who are we trying to please? Them or us? As far as I'm concerned, I don't know them anything. Do you? I sure don't. But there you have it, And I'll agree, there are some situations where it would be better, if I had that proper voice. But I mean, why should I put the effort? I mean, and I try, it sounds very fake. It sounds very forced, and that's not who I am. I don't want to do that, But of course, you're going to run into the gambit of people that will take advantage of that and try to, discriminate, and that kind of sucks. And well, I guess that's kind of what you got to deal with. I mean, you're not going to run into that everywhere, but in certain places it just might happen. And I mean, I do know one girl that, she actually got her vocal cords removed. Heard she was a good singer. Well, she sounds very female, I'll grant you. Can she sing? No, she can't. Not anymore, at least. And that sucks for her. Me, I like to sing. I love to be with a live band. And I wouldn't trade my voice for the world. It's like, yeah, okay, I sound very cranky. Or maybe, as one person said, bombastic. That's fine. But when I sing, I can use the full range. I can use my full diaphragm. I can belt it. And that's where it matters for me. And I smoke. On top of that, I smoke cloves here and there. Typical goth thing to do. But I don't put into this thought about this, about whether I should do this on a regular basis. I mean, it's like my image alone should carry me in most situations. But, every now and then you're going to find yourself in an uncomfortable situation. And the discomfort is ours, not theirs, So why, again, I ask you this. Why should we invest in the discomfort of others? They don't want us to do certain things. Right now there's this fucking effort to restrict our lives. Especially these insecure white male Republicans out there who keep coming up with new fucking, proposed legislation to make our lives difficult. Again, they base it on their sense of discomfort. Because it's not about protecting girls or women. They don't give a rat's ass. Especially the motherfuckers that always complain about, trans and women's sports. It's like, you don't give a shit about women's sports. So why the fuck are you even commenting on it? I challenge these motherfuckers to name one fucking athlete. They're putting in all this fucking effort, right now to make it illegal for, a trans athlete to participate in anything, right? There's only like 10 in the whole fucking country. It's like, that's a lot of effort to basically, interfere with the lives of 10 people. To me, that's stupid. It's like, you really got a hair up your ass about us. And that sucks. But, what do bullies do? They find the weakest link, or they find the one stray that doesn't go with the pack, and they pounce. And right now, we're that one group that doesn't go with the larger group, and they're pouncing. And part of their strategy is to get some people over there under the rainbow flag and stir dissent, and and it already existed. They're just trying to exploit it, so they can make us easier to come after. Yeah, and again, it boils back to that whole discomfort thing. Who's more comfortable, us or them? So, while I'm not going to criticize anyone, and I'm not going to tell you don't do voice training or don't get that surgery. Well, if you're a vocalist, you like playing in bands, probably not the best idea. However, if you're in professional situations where your voice doesn't match your image, well, okay. You got to do what you got to do. But for me, I just feel this sense of like, because a lot of people, again, they pressure me to do something about it, because it's like they hear me on the phone and automatically I'm getting the sir shit. Of course, people wouldn't do it if they saw me in person, unless they really want to start shit. And that's only happened once in these last 4 years. You know, that's like, cause I'll instantly correct your ass, and if you show me further disrespect, you know, that's, you know, heaven help you. You know, that's just how it is. You know, don't let my feminine wardrobe and you know, my aesthetics and my mannerisms fool you. You know, I can be a wolf in sheep's clothing. You know, but I'm no sheep. Well, so think about it. I mean, is it advantageous for you? Are you doing it for you as opposed to doing it for other people? Again, what have they done for us except give us grief, put out laws to restrict our movements, interfere with our medical decisions, and they're still crying that they're the ones that are uncomfortable. You know, it's just like, what the fuck, you know? I mean, I want to say we're ramming our lifestyle down our throats. No, fuck you. You're doing it to us. You've been doing it to us all along. I mean, I have never heard of a trans person knocking on people's doors and asking if they want to know about us. It's like, I'd rather they didn't, personally. But nobody does that shit. But they do. You know, everything from, you know, always trying to control people, I guess. You know, it's like all these stupid bathroom bills, you know. They're not really coming for us. I mean, I think some of them know better. But what they're attacking is femininity itself. So here comes a woman that maybe she's got short hair, she's wearing jeans, and you know, maybe she's not very, might appear a little masculine on the side. I mean, there are some women like that, you know, nothing wrong with that, right? But they're getting attacked. They're getting harassed. And then there's others that, again, don't live up to someone else's idea. And as it stands, women have to juggle these impossible fucking standards of living. You know, they have to appeal a certain aesthetic. And again, it goes back to the discomfort of others and comfort levels of others. You know, it's like, you know, and trust me, I go on DeviantArt. I've seen some of these guys' fantasies. They're using AI and they make up these Stepford wife nightmare. Yes, like they combine the Stepford wives with the Handmaid's Tale, and they make these nightmarish cartoon scenarios, and looks like with real people, you know, but it's, of course, computer generated. You know, and their fantasy is to control everybody and to dictate. I mean, down to what a woman wears. You know, and it's like, who are these guys to decide? So again, I ask you, do you really need to do this? That's up to you, really. But put some thought into it. I mean, for me, I kind of resent the idea that I should have to. You know, it's time out of my day, and I don't really have the time, frankly, to spare. But, you know, to put all this extra effort to essentially blend in when, you know, as femme, you know, I'm not getting SRS, so why should I? You know, I like being who I am, you know. I'm happy with it, you know, and if somebody else has a discomfort issue with it, you know, that's on them. It's not on me. And the same thing, it goes, again, back to what I say. Whose comfort level are we trying to please? Ours or theirs? You decide. All right, folks, that's my rant on this. And, you know, as I try to get more back into the swing of things, we'll talk some more trans issues as we go along. Thank you for paying attention. And I hope this maybe stirs some debate. Maybe, I don't know. Don't expect to change the world, but hey, if it gets you guys talking about it, maybe thinking about it, maybe you reassess, you know, who are you trying to please? Them? Us or them? Yeah? Me? I'm not going to be doing anything for them, you know? It's like, it's me, myself, and I when it comes to that shit. And maybe that's how it should be for you too. All right, folks, I'll stop ranting. Enjoy. Thank you.